All right. So we're talking about again analyzing cost. We're differentiating cost versus price analysis. Let me read it back. You all on the same page? Cost analysis starts when price analysis becomes impractical, as can happen when the procurement manager cannot determine if a price is fair or reasonable. Cost analysis is helpful when you are purchasing non-standard items and services. If price analysis, you are looking at comparisons. Cost analysis is an evaluation of actual anticipated costs. Remember when I'm talking about my example earlier? So when you have to purchase procurement from your company, it's either you choose between two items. Earlier, I told you if you're choosing between an Apple or an Acer brand. Price cost, maybe Acer is more affordable, or because of Apple, there's a brand you wanted that, yes, is kind of like more expensive. So, however, maybe Acer is like cheaper or more affordable, but later on you'd have to purchase additional accessories, additional software. So that could be cost, like anticipated additional expenses. That is cost analysis. Price analysis, but when you're just thinking about the actual price. Next, estimate can be conducted in different ways. Estimates. You may need input from engineering design, human resources, accounting, and operation areas when you analyze their suppliers' costs. You'll need to understand their business and dynamics behind it, including labor, material costs, overhead, and shipping. This should all be provided to you in supplier's proposal as a cost breakdown and should include the three principal elements: direct costs, indirect costs, and projected profit. The scope of cost as the procurement manager, you have to remain aware of how wide costs can vary among manufacturers. Some have high costs and other are low. Cost quality is not always tied to cost. You must do your research to find right supplier. Some of the important factors that influence cost include management, leadership capacity, amount and quality, subcontracting, and whether the supplier can meet the targets you agree on, plant capacity, sustainability, and efficiency. Because these factors change continually, you can have one supplier that requires a high cost on one item but can produce other at a low cost. These factors make it essential that you obtain competing bids, and when appropriate, that you leverage competition to keep your supplies at the lowest cost possible while still getting the desired quality and meeting the time frames. I like that part. It says there, lowest cost possible if you're going to procure something for your company. However, you are aiming to get the desired quality and meeting what is time frames, deadlines, right? If you remember our activity from the previous, the Eid holiday, remember that? We have a deadline. Move to the next page, source for cost data. There are three primary sources of cost data that you need to become familiar with. First, potential suppliers, supply partners, and cost models. What are potential suppliers? You should get in the habit of asking for a cost breakdown each time you request a quote. This is an only proper time to do it rather than waiting until after negotiation have started. Suppliers won't complain that this breakdown is too wondrous when you make it clear that it is a part of the bid. They will, however, resist doing so after they have dedicated a lot of time and effort to prepare the bid. You ask potential suppliers. So from the beginning, you already have to ask the breakdown. Remember the request for quotation that we did last time? You ask for the breakdown of the cost Why is this 1 million dirhams? So you would ask, what is the breakdown for this amount? Supplier partners, as your relationship with suppliers grow to be more relationship than transaction based, you will be both willing to share information like forecast and scheduling, as well as how the new products fit into your existing product lines, processes, and so on. The supplier partner who has a relationship with your company is more likely to share all kinds of details than a potential partner who does not trust you. Supplier partners. This is a professional relationship with your suppliers. If you want a supplier for your hotel for fruits and vegetables, you might want to uh, share them your forecast. This is Eid holidays. We need more vegetable. We need more this and that. And then because this will be a long holiday, people will actually that will start from now, weekend, right? So weekend now, no class, no work for the people from the month, from the day of, am I right? Oh no. When's Eid? 8. Yes. So see, Friday off is weekends is 6 and 7, and then 8 no work, and then until 14. So that's a total of 9 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, and then the resumption of your work is 15. But of course, in the that depends on their industry. On your industry, no. Yes, for your industry, you're not affected. For our industry, no as well. All right, let's continue. That's for your supply partners, and then we move on to cost models. If you cannot obtain the information you need from some suppliers and does not happen, it becomes less common. You can create a cost model. You can also create a cost model when the cost data of supplier provides you with the seems unrealistic and prices seems out of line with what you expect. Creating a cost model can also be extremely helpful for you during negotiation when you are able to improve the pricing proposed by a potential supplier. That means that you can like somehow suggest price range. Also, you can ask for like a quotation. If you're asking for a quotation for a certain product, then that means there is a design, like a cost bracket for that. Move on. Creating cost models will typically require expertise in accounting, engineering, and design staff. Although this depends on whether you are costing product or services and in quantity, while this kind of exercise may not be able to small companies, it is becoming more common among larger companies that have a strong technical expertise available. To make it in a smaller scale, say for example, you are a supplier or you have like a business for salon, right? Cost model there would be the services. If our services right now is this amount, if this is the prices, then that means your supplies should be workable with this services, right? Do you think if these are your services, this is very affordable, you will buy expensive shampoo, expensive wax, expensive materials? No, this is very affordable. This is for the most, look at the services. 1, 2, 4, 5 services for 100 dirhams. See, there are offers. So now the supplies for that should be maxing that as well because your services is affordable, right? You cannot buy ingredients, you cannot buy materials that are expensive, that are more than the price of your services. Exactly. That's the term. We have additional costs. In addition to what mentioned here, you also have to be ready to evaluate direct labor costs. There are many factors to consider here, such as allowance to rework products, losses due to scrap and defects, geographic variation in wages from one country to another, and even across regions within the same country. Skill variation and amount of training required, a learning curve as people get more familiar with new products, variation in tools costs, transportation, and delivery factors. Those are your consideration with additional costs. Say, for example, there are some delays with the delivery, um, maybe because of some natural causes. Then there could be like there could be some uh, additional costs that are needed. Did you know about the earthquake in Taiwan? Yes. So there will be some suppliers being sent to Taiwan because for some portion of Taiwan that was hit by the earthquake, that's magnitude 7. So what will be the logistics there? Logistics of food, supplies, for tents probably, if there will be reconstruction. So there could be somehow business in that disaster. There will need to reconstruct, right? Engineers would have to check if that place is still eligible to reconstruct, right? There could be business in that kind of situation. To get me? The news, I'll show you. Evaluating suppliers. If their purchasing needs are simple, then the process of choosing a supplier is also simple. Low value item or an uncomplicated purchase says typically only require confirming basic information, and then you go ahead and place an order. Additional steps are necessary, however, when the purchase involves more complex decisions, essential items, and high value items. Here are quick questions. Ask yourself if you evaluate potential suppliers. Read the first question, Joy. That's the supplier. Mm-hmm. Yes. Important to your success for your business. You want to sell, you want to build, it depends on your goal, right? Continue. Strategic in what way? Strategic in location, is strategic on how to get it quickly, on the duration, the time that will be spent. So that's strategic. Last question. Read it, please. Your turn. Edit. Mm-hmm. Scrutinize the potential supplier. Scrutinize is just like asking, how long will this take? How much is this? What if we get more of this? Do we get discount? That's your supplier. Uh, will we get some additional like loyalty if we get you for a couple of months? If you'll be our supplier, regular supplier, will you give us discount? That's part of your scrutinizing. If the answer is yes to these questions, you will need to take time to conduct a thorough evaluation and potential supplier, which we will cover in the next section. Remember that if a supplier you want to work with, perhaps because of an existing relationship, does not pass the kind of competency audits to become a supplier now, they can always improve their processes and positioning to apply again to a later date. This is a part of the collaboration and mutual trust that develops, but no matter what, we cannot select a supplier based on liking them. If they don't pass the selection process, then you know that they cannot meet your needs and you need to source your purchases from somewhere else. So it's okay that you would have a lot of options. You just need to check if that will be beneficial for your company. Evaluation checklist necessary steps. Your analysis will provide include several steps, starting with straightforward surveys and a review of the potential supplier's financial situation. Next, we perform more in-depth activities, including third-party evaluation interviews, a plant visit, and selected but comprehensive capabilities analysis. Normally, surveys and financial information are reviewed first, and those suppliers who do not meet the basic standards are eliminated from further consideration. Supplier surveys, this surveys does not have to be a long one, but it needs to be thorough. The answers that you get here will provide you with the sufficient knowledge about whether you will proceed to the next steps of the process. You could consider it as a part of the pre-qualification process. The survey should include the following items. Read that for me, Edit. A list of principal. Again, continue. Quality control methods. This is just a checklist. This is a guide just in case that you are asked to evaluate your suppliers or to check if the suppliers would be a good partner in the future, but not necessarily that you will follow. Because again, our goal is for you to have the least cost, right? That's beneficial for your company. Financial analysis beyond the survey, asking for basic financial information. This analysis is done in some detail so that you can determine what the financial stability of the company is like and whether they are capable of meeting their obligations. Financial stability is essential for a supplier to ensure continuity and reliability for both delivery and quality. Financial analysis. Financial analysis on your end, on your sources end, right? If your budget will allow you, how much would be your budget? It's a consideration for your company and for the other. So you remember when we had an exercise of how to ask for bargaining? Yes, if you're getting a product for 100 dirhams, how much are you gonna ask? Yes, until you meet with, yes, so you get that discount. Third-party analysis, you can now hire a third-party firm to undertake any of the analysis you are not comfortable or competent at. However, you have to ensure the analysis is conducted by a company with no vested interest in the outcome of the assessment. Third-party analysis talks about probably a third-party point of view. It could be from a different department or probably like a partner company, some other suppliers, your previous suppliers. It's not bad that you ask for advice. Evaluation interview for an extremely important purchase. Um, an interview is frequently held as part of the process. This is often arranged at the supplier's location. This might be inconvenient if you are scrutinizing global suppliers, but most likely it is also worthwhile An in-person meeting can go a long way in ensuring that your potential supplier understands the complexities of your purchase. As you eliminate potential vendors that you cannot keep up with you get closer to the right one. I like that phrase. As you eliminate potential vendors, you cannot who cannot keep up with you or your requirements, you are getting close to the right one. Facility visits. In-person meetings aren't only the relationship and conversations. When the sourcing team visits the facility and witnesses it at work, they also get an understanding of the company's technological production and distribution capabilities. Depending on the scope of the visit, the company may send representatives from supply management, as well as finance, operations, quality assurance, marketing, and industrial relations. Facility visits, each participant will need to meet the supplier and perhaps observe work conducted at the counterpart. You could do that as well in the procurement department as a procurement manager, officer, or associate. You get to visit. You get to visit their workplace. You get to visit their um, factory. You get to visit their location just to see, to get the feel or like the environment of the place. Quality capabilities analysis if the potential supplier capacity is less than your requirement, then you can eliminate the supplier. An obvious exception is found when no supplier currently possesses the capability and you are working together to create it. Your analysis here should also include a look of upper management and their philosophy toward quality and quality management department there is done. Capability assess capability analysis, capacity capability analysis, ensuring continuity of supply is one of the most fundamental tasks of the procurement manager. Listen to that carefully. Most fundamental task of procurement is ensuring continuity of supply. You want a longer relationship with your supplier because probably you will get the supply in a low cost. Your work probably goes unnoticed much at the time, but everyone knows your name if supplies don't arrive on time or in the right quantity. In addition, some suppliers have a disconnect with their salespeople where the salesperson will make all kinds of assurances not realizing that their company cannot deliver on what they just promised. So that could happen. I'm telling you, with all the good things that you've done for your company, if you committed one mistake, that will be highlighted. People will get to be, yes, with one mistake, there are 100 tasks, one mistake, and then you will get like reprimanded for it. And it's actually a fact. So how to deal with that? You apologize with your boss, acknowledge the problem, and advise that it won't happen again, right? So that's an opportunity for you to do your work well. One way to overcome this capacity problem is to be very clear about what you need. Do your research and develop an excellent working relationship with your supplier. Of course, you could also work with more than one supplier and have each of them provide you with some amount of product, but the duplication of effort would have to be really worthwhile. Management capability analysis. A thorough analysis of this area might require several visits to the supplier. A shortcut, if you will, is to evaluate the sales representative you are working with, the facility, staff room, and even the condition of your parking lot and common areas in the building. If they look poorly maintained, then the supplier is sending a negative message to you about their ability to perform. A well-managed company looks to maintain costs, meet the needs of their employees, and reduce labor issues, all while balancing their image. Management capability. Nice that you get to evaluate your partners or your suppliers, but make sure that you as all as well are meeting their requirements. Your company is also at the good state, right? Does your company have a good facility? Does your company have a competitive working environment, a good staff room before you scrutinize someone else? Service capability analysis. Okay, there are so many analysis that I can see here. Okay, let's take a break. Right, let's continue our discussion. This is still with negotiation. Negotiation basics. Being a competent negotiator is one of the most important roles in supply management. As the global market shrinks and business becomes more complex, it's not usual to leverage a cross-functional negotiation team to make sure that all elements are adequately addressed. At its finest, negotiation is persuasive undertaking for people trying to reach joint decision over some issue where there is disagreement. We often speak of a win-win negotiation as the most pleasant option. Because it implies that both parties get something out of the process, despite the reality that neither party will get everything they want, and one side typically comes out farther ahead. This isn't necessarily all bad, since excellence in business skills should lead to better outcomes. It's important that in negotiation, not necessarily that you like take everything on your advantage. It should could be like win-win situation. See, UAE and India, they come to an agreement, like products that are being like sent coming here who would be from India in certain sectors, in certain industries. So it's like making um, for the businesses there in India, if they would come here and they would pitch, we are part of this agreement. We would like to supply fish here, supply vegetables, supplies ingredients, supplies this and that for your business, right? So that's part. It's business. It's actually a business um, related and business oriented partnership. Getting to know just because it's negotiation doesn't mean that there are no small talk. You're not dealing with abstract notion or faceless companies. You are negotiating with people and at the same time building relationship. If possible, it is a good idea to know who will be negotiating ahead of time and get to know them. Some cultures are better at investing this time to get acquainted than others, yet it benefits everyone and makes for a much more pleasant discussion when you are speaking with people you already know. If there is no time in the agenda to exchange this 90s to arrive early, exchange necessities to arrive early and stay behind after the formal sessions so that you can get to know people. Use diversion. Okay, let me show you also some.